Good evening and welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast, summer series, the last one of. Because myself, Christopher, and the captain are taking a break for another, I'd say about another 3 to 4 weeks. We will be back with our preview show just before the Wolves game on the Wednesday evening. But enough about all that. Let's welcome our guests tonight. To the left of me, right of me, whatever way it looks like on the screen, we've got the fabulous Carl Fern. Hello, Carl.
Good evening.
How are
Nice to be
you?
here, Amanda. I'm doing well. I'll stop mooning about the weather up here in Cumbria, but hope everybody's having a great summer.
Well, if I could show you, we've got blue sky and sun at the moment down in Essex, so
Yeah,
hope you
grey
get some
clouds and
soon.
drizzle.
Same here.
Below me is the lovely Selena. How are you, my lovely?
Yeah. I'm good, thank you.
Welcome back. Both of you were on the show around this time last year, weren't you?
That's right.
It doesn't feel that long ago, but yeah.
No, I know. I remember really honestly, I really enjoyed that show. It was really interesting and I really enjoyed it. And a lot of our viewers did as well. So let me get the what was I going to say? The introductions out of the way. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Ruth Beck for sponsoring us. And later during the show, I'm going to show you some of her new little bits that she's got out. But please, please, please go and support her. A fantastic gooner, a fantastic artist as well. So ruthbeckart.com, and I will show you some bits later. I'd like to welcome everybody that's watching us. If you'd like to leave some questions for Carl and Selena, even myself, please do, because we will come to them later. We have got quite a bit to discuss, but I would just like to say hello to Phil. Good evening, Phil. Good evening, Emerson. Good evening, Carl, and everybody else. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Wow. So it's been a bit of a year, isn't it? Both. I mean, Carl, it's been like when we spoke last season, we could only hope really for what we experienced this year. It's been amazing. Now, if I'm right, you go to quite a few away games as well as home, don't you?
Yes, I was in Munich, and some of you may have seen me acting like an 8-year-old kid when I saw myself on the stadium screen in the Ajax
Oh, I
Stadium.
didn't see you. How
Oh,
fantastic.
my phone went crazy during the game because there's a group of our members meeting in the Blackstock, and of course they had it on the big screen in the pub, and the place went wild when this when they saw
Oh,
me.
look, famous, eh?
Yeah, so not a good
Great.
result, but it was a great experience. So I went to all the Champions League away games.
Oh, fantastic.
Had to
Oh my God.
miss the Bayern Munich home game because my mother wasn't well on the day, so I had to cancel, which was a shame. But my mum comes first. No, it was
Absolutely.
and then I have to apologise to everybody watching because apparently I am responsible for us not winning the league because I missed the Aston Villa home game.
Oh yeah, it's down to you.
You see, it's down to me because when I went to the next home game, I got a tap on the shoulder from the guy behind me and said, "Every time you come, we win." And you weren't here for Aston Villa, so I do apologise to the entire Arsenal family.
We need you at every game.
Yeah.
Next season, home and away, young man.
No,
So
I'm not sure about away, but certainly I'll try to get as many home.
So, Selena, do you get to the men's home games, or do you still? Because I remember last season you say that you went to every woman's home game.
Yeah. So I don't really get to the men's games. I'd like to see a few, but it's really difficult to get to at the moment.
It's impossible to get tickets,
Scheduling
isn't it?
wise.
It really,
It's
really
hard,
is.
yeah.
It's hard. I know. Never ever used to be like that in the 80s and then the 90s, and then it's just this impossible for. And I would say not only genuine fans, but fans that have been going for years, a real struggle. And there's always things about the tickets. And I know the AS2 I'm a member of is trying their best to get tickets for all, like for instance, if you don't go to 20 games, you lose your season ticket and stuff like that. But anyway, moving on, let's just talk a little bit Arsenal. So it does seem, although it's not been announced, that Calafiore, have I said that right? Who knows? Could be joining us as our new left back. Well, an interesting player, around 35 million quid, Carl. Apparently, a very, very good signing for that money. I have to caveat that by saying I never talk about transfers, but it does seem that we possibly have signed him, and it'll be one of those, let's go videos that Arsenal brings out on social media, and we're all going, "Ah, he's signed."
Yeah, it's a funny one because my 85-year-old mother on her tablet all the time and gets all these Arsenal feeds, and she goes, "Oh, you're buying this player, you're buying that player," and I always say, only when Arsenal announce it will I believe it. So
Yeah,
I
that's what I'm
know that
like.
I'm kind of like that, because if you believed all the rumors, we'd have the entire La Liga playing for Arsenal. I did a little bit of research, knowing I was coming on tonight, that this young guy that's possibly coming. I know the Italians are kicking off because they really wanted him to stay in Italy, and I think Juventus were involved. So as I said, I'm going to wait and see. In terms of left back, another one. I know Tommy Asu's got injured, but we do
Oh,
seem to
sorry,
be
isn't he a right back? Hold on a
right
second.
back. Well, the trouble is he swaps,
Oh,
doesn't he?
I've got this wrong.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then we got Jurian Timber, who only played for about 10 minutes last year in the Premier League. I'm really excited to see him come back. So obviously, I think Mikel is kind of looking at strengthening that back line for Champions League because of the new format, and we've got to play 8 games before the knockout stages. So good that they're there. There's this other chap that we're talking about today, a midfielder, Marino.
Oh, do you know what though? Honestly, Cole, if you knew me, I don't discuss transfers until they're signed. I actually knew that I shouldn't really have brought this Calafiore out, but it does seem so. I don't have a clue until they're signed. What I do is I wait for my dad to tell me they've signed, and that's it. I only believe him or Sky Sports News, the yellow banner. So
Yeah,
it's going
yeah.
to be interesting now because obviously the Euros being over, Selena, that a lot of the chat, but obviously we've jetted off to America. So, and you know what I love? I love this, that the American fans are beyond excited, beyond that they get to see the first team squad, plus a lot of academy players are gone, which is lovely as well, in their hometowns, in the good old USA. I'm so pleased for them because some of those fans over there are so dedicated. They just love they eat, sleep, and breathe Arsenal just as much as any English fan does. Selena, can you hear me?
Oh, I think
Has she?
Selena's frozen.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I'm here. Sorry, I think there's a bit of a delay.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, obviously it's amazing for the American fans. It's just from the women's side of things, it's a real issue with scheduling because for the past, I think at least 4 years or however many summers it is, they've had major tournaments, international ones, and they just haven't seemed to get a break.
No, I know that, and we're talking about that. The Lionesses have made it, haven't they, to the Euros next summer? It feels like it's all go for them. They just don't get a break, do they? But but the Arsenal women will be playing back at the Emirates next season, won't they?
They will, yeah. So we've committed to, I think it's at least 11 games at the Emirates next season, which is absolutely fantastic. We saw how amazing the crowds were last season with a couple of sellout games, and yeah, it's absolutely incredible, and it's a brilliant commitment from the club.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can tell they're way behind. They're well behind the Arsenal ladies, which is fantastic. Some of the games you've got like 50, 60,000. I mean,
mm.
incredible. I mean, honestly, just incredible. And big up to all of the people that go and support. Absolutely. So we had a question actually for you, Selena, from Carl. It said, question for Selena. What are your
Oh
thoughts
no,
about Viv Miedema leaving? I've probably said her name wrong. Miedema?
Miedemar, yeah,
Miedema. See,
Miedemar.
I knew I'd
Everyone
say
gets
it
that
wrong.
wrong. Even the announcers get it wrong, so don't panic.
What
Yeah, I knew this was
What's
going to
your
come up.
thoughts on it?
Personally, I'm sort of over it by now because it was rumored for a long time before she left, and there was a lot of discourse in sort of the group chats and the fan groups and everything as the rumors were coming out and after she left and before she signed for Man City. So as far as I'm concerned, I think it was the best thing for her and probably the best thing for the club as well. Like with the players we were signing, and after her ACL injury, we were sort of moving away from the style of play that suited her. And it's a shame that she's gone to Man City, that she's gone to a rival, but obviously she's got to do what's best for her. And I think we sort of support her in that, as long as she's not scoring against us.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions for you. This is great from Phil Macker. How long before the Emirates becomes the permanent home for the ladies' games?
I mean, we're basically there already with the next season. So the plan is, if we qualify for the Champions League, then there'll be 8 WSL games out of 11, and the 3 Champions League home games, the group stages, as well as if we were to progress, then there'd be also the quarterfinals, semi-finals, etc., would be held at the Emirates. If we don't qualify, then all 11 WSL games will be held there, and it will just be sort of like the Conti Cup group stages and some of the potential cup games that would be held at Meadow Park.
Where is Meadow
So I
Park?
think if we can get the crowds next season, Boreham Wood, so Hertfordshire.
Okay.
But yeah, if we can get the crowds next season,
Yeah.
then I think the season after, that'll be it.
Okay. Another one. Emerson, welcome to the show. Do you think we will buy a new goalkeeper before the pre-season trip to America?
I think we have to. At the moment, we've got one senior goalkeeper. There's rumours, but I'm the same as you. Until they're officially announced, I try to ignore it and get surprised.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right. Paul
potentially
Healy's
news in the next couple of days, but we'll see.
okay. Paul Healy's got a point. He's saying Women's Champions League is odd. Qualifying, we need to beat 3 teams, 2 of them very good teams. We'll either not to the group stage or get to the semi-final. I obviously don't know about the Women's Champions League, so how does that work? Is he right?
Yeah, it is really weird. So the first round of qualifying, our first match, so I'm trying to think. That's early September. So our first game will be against Rangers. Uh, I
Mm.
think it's Rosenborg and AC Milan are playing each other. I've probably got that wrong because I forget, to be honest. But if we were to beat Rangers, which I really hope we do, then we would play the winner of the other game, and then the winner of that then goes forward onto round 2.
Okay, it's all a bit
So
confusing.
already we've got AC Milan in that very first qualifying competition.
But Selena, aren't they playing? We've got the advantage in that
We
the
do
games are
have
being
the home
played at Boreham Wood.
advantage.
Yeah, you've got home
Yeah.
advantage there, Amanda, because all the games that Selena's just mentioned will be played at Boreham Wood. So that hopefully is in
Oh,
our favour.
right. Yeah, that could be, couldn't it? And I'm sure you'll get good crowds for that, especially for Champions League.
I would imagine, given the time of year, it'd probably sell out because the capacity at Meadow Park is around 4,000.
Okay,
So
fine.
yeah, we would hope.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think they will. Absolutely. I think a lot of people love watching different football at different times of the year and different, if you support Arsenal, you support all the Arsenal teams. And especially the women's get such great publicity now. I'm so, so pleased. Right, one more question for you, Selena, I promise, and then we'll go on.
Okay.
It's lovely that people have got questions for you. Hold on a second. Let me find it. This is from Carl Stark. Thoughts on Mariona Caldinate? I'm so used as it works. Caldinate signing. Are you excited?
Caldente.
How'd you say
I
it?
am, yeah. Caldente, I think. Don't quote me on
Caldente,
that,
just like
but
the
yeah.
pasta, dente.
I
Right,
think she
okay.
goes by Mariona anyway. Um,
Right.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie. We've just signed her from Barcelona. She's come from Barcelona. She's won everything. So it's great to have a player that's just used to winning and has that kind of mentality in our squad. She's a bit experienced. I think she's about 28, so
Yeah,
she's obviously like she's not on the peak of retirement, but she's also like she's got a lot of experience and a lot to offer, I think.
lovely. Right, well, I think we've covered a little bit of that. I think I need to bring Carl in now. Bless him, sitting there all patient.
Thank you.
Um, Carl, talk to me about what you've been up to, because obviously you two are members of the Gay Gooners. Um, I just love everything you do, and I was so gutted I couldn't get down to the Pride March the other day. It looks so much fun, so much Arsenal as well. I love it. Talk to us about how the day was.
Oh, the day was fantastic, and the weather was brilliant as well. Thank goodness, because the next day it poured down all day. We collaborate with Arsenal on the Pride Parade, and
Yep.
they managed to get us the traditional football open top vehicle, open top bus, and we had, probably including the Arsenal folk, there were over 108 of us at the parade. I think we were one of the biggest
Wow.
groups on the parade. We managed to get a few sneaky wristbands. Don't tell the parade organisers, but we got a few sneaky spares. And the other interesting thing in the last 2 years is the dynamic between women to men, female to male. It's probably about 75% female and 25% male, which
Now, isn't this something that Selena's very excited about? Who came along that you was excited about, Selena? I've been warned about this.
I wasn't that bad. I promise I wasn't.
no,
Were you not
we went,
starstruck?
yeah, a little bit starstruck, a little bit.
I wasn't. It was more. I have no idea how it came about because obviously, like, I Kissed a Girl, the show that the people were from, it's only just aired, so that's happened so quickly, and yeah, it was sort of a bit of a shock from that point of view.
So Carl was telling me that one of them's a footballer.
Two of them.
I didn't watch the
Fantastic.
show.
I haven't watched that yet. No, but I'm going to watch it.
But I know who Georgia is, and I know I should tell the story. Selena and I were at it's called Football Pride, and it was a conference that was held at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea Foundation hosted it, and we were there in our Arsenal shirts and generally causing trouble. And Selena did her best to destroy very expensive television. But then there were three cast members from I Kissed a Girl as part of the conference. And after they'd done their piece, I said to Selena, I said, should we go and say hello to Georgia? And Selena's like, no, we can't do that. But so I said, they're coming tomorrow. They are guests on the Arsenal vehicle. So,
oh, wow.
now, luckily, I'd done my homework the night before and looked at the last show of the series. So I knew some of them were. So I was just, hi, Meg, hi, and it's like I was a big watcher of the show. And I sort of dragged Selena, like dragging your child. You will talk to them. up to see Georgia. So
I saw the pictures. I saw the pictures of them actually, but the whole thing looked fantastic. I mean, does a lot of work go into that, Carl? And how I can imagine, and I'm assuming that Arsenal are really on board with it all.
Yes, we work hand in glove with Arsenal on the on the Pride Parade. It's a combination of them showcasing talent. We had various. So we had a DJ there, and we had Nadia, who's a rap singer, and she's a cousin of Stormzy. She was on the vehicle with her girlfriend, huge Arsenal fan. And then most of our members were actually absolutely delighted that the stadium presenter, Nigel Mitchell.
Oh, he's such a lovely man.
Yeah. He turned up with his gorgeous girlfriend Dee, and they told me they stayed with us till right at the end, 10 o'clock at night in the post-parade pub. And they both said it was one of the best days of their lives in terms of the energy, the love they were getting from the crowd, the fact that everybody was so appreciative of being there. Nigel's a huge, proud ally for the group. He's been to a number of our socials, and then at the end of the season, when he interviewed Martin and Mikel after the Everton game, he didn't know that interview was being taken live by TNT, and it went all around the world. And Nigel's there along with his Marie badge. He had the Gay Gooners Proud Ally badge on him. So I saw him on the big screen. I was like, oh, he's got my badge. He's got the badge that I made him. So,
how lovely.
So he's absolutely fantastic, and it's wonderful to have that sort of unconditional support from him. We had Gunnosaurus there, so he's always incredibly popular. And I filmed him. I've got it on my X account. I filmed him walking down Oxford Street past Marble Arch Tube Station, And you know what? Nobody's paying the blindest bit of notice to this 7-foot dinosaur walking down the street. Down the street. So it was quite a surreal moment to see that. So we had
So
a
it was a
great.
so it's all joyful, isn't it? And wonderful and happy
It,
day. And of course, you did have good weather. I remember seeing that.
yeah,
And I just love the fact that Arsenal get involved. I really do. And I love Nigel. We follow each other on Twitter. So I'm going to tell him that we've been talking about him shortly after the show. Um, and people from, our program coming down and supporting. And you must love it. Selena, do you enjoy the whole day?
Absolutely. And one of the great things about this year is we were right behind the Chelsea float. And one of the people, so I had my sleeves rolled up so you could see my Arsenal tattoos. And there was someone on the float who was turned out to be an Arsenal fan who worked for them. She also had an Arsenal tattoo. So we're there comparing tattoos and we recruited her for Gay Gooners.
Oh, how funny. So how many other football clubs are there that day?
Chelsea, Spurs, West Ham were behind us. They had a vehicle. Oh, that was another funny thing. I was asked by the Arsenal people to go and split up a fight between Pride of Iron's mascot and Gunnosaurus. They were threatening. They were threatening this.
Gunnosaurus would definitely
yeah,
win that. I'm
yeah.
telling you.
And then they ended up having a big hug. Watford would have been there. I think Crystal Palace.
Oh, how
It's
amazing.
difficult. You see, the way that it's all organised, when you're actually in the parade, you don't get to see everybody else
No.
marching. So it's, but pretty much, Chelsea, obviously. Spurs always makes us laugh because the club put no money into Spurs. So they have this like little van. And last year, the van was in front of us and we kept sticking flags, Arsenal flags in the back of the van. So, excuse my language, everybody.
They got
There's a
so
bit
annoyed at us.
of shithousery going on.
Beautiful. Love it. Love it.
They didn't like it at all. So, but for all the rainbows and the smiles and the party atmosphere and the great music, I personally had to sort of remind people and also explain to the Arsenal folk what Pride's all about, and it isn't all about always about rainbows and having a good time. We did have a great time, but there was a few words that I said beforehand which resonated with a lot of LGBT folk that, Pride is great, but Pride is also a reminder of what journey we might have been on. And that for some of us, it's been a really difficult journey. So to finish it off by getting the love of Arsenal and, Arsenal for everyone, which we aspire to all the time, that makes today even more special for LGBT people that are Arsenal fans, knowing that we can go out there, we can be ourselves on the parade, and we do it for, almost do it for the badge. Because when you see people in the crowd that are Arsenal fans that recognize, they see the vehicle and they just go absolutely crazy, and they're thinking, wow, my club is being represented on this amazing parade. So it is the definite highlight of the year. It's like Christmas. It's like the Christmas day for the LGBT community, and to be able to march in it is quite a privilege, and it's something that we're very proud to do.
Oh, that's just fantastic. And how has the last year, because obviously I know both of you were on last season, I learned quite a bit. I think that I didn't realise what went on at football matches. What we'll get into in a second. But Selena, it's different for you because you go to the ladies' matches and you weren't experiencing what Carl and Jacob, who couldn't be here tonight, was telling me. So from last year to this year, Selena, how have you felt going to Boreham Wood, the Emirates? Everything been fine? No issues or anything?
For me personally, I haven't experienced any issues whatsoever. I know there was an incident at a game that I didn't attend. Carl, did you want to touch on that?
Yes, and this is
I don't know
specific
if
to
we
the
can.
women's game, Amanda, and it's quite
It is
disappointing. And we're still waiting on an official response from the club, actually.
right.
So
That's
hopefully it's one thing we'll talk about
disappointing.
on Friday. Basically, at the Chelsea game, the women's game played at Chelsea, it was at Stamford Bridge. There was the now illegal chant about Chelsea Rent Boy, which was chanted at the women's game, which couldn't quite get my head around. And it was actually started by two people that are very close to two Arsenal players. So that,
Right.
I can't go into any
No,
more detail about
no,
it
that's
now. But
absolutely fine.
that
I would have
was,
said that anyway. We mustn't go into detail.
yeah.
That's disappointing to hear. And w- so, who called that out? Who reported that to Arsenal? Was some member of the crowd?
It came via a tweet which I picked up, and then through Selena, we managed to sort of get the full story, and I reported it back to the club because I felt it was a little inexcusable that somebody so close to the team would have started off. And we get the usual thing we get is, oh, it's just banter, or oh, they had a few drinks, and that's not an excuse. Being drunk
No.
is not an excuse. And so the fact that it was the women's game as well, that was disappointing. And Chelsea and Brighton are the two clubs in the Premier League that get the most abuse for all the wrong
Yeah.
reasons. Okay,
Yeah.
so there was that. Then we had the men's games. We had a couple of incidences. One that actually, again, I won't mention the game, and there was a police investigation, but there was insufficient evidence to.
That
It
was
didn't
the
meet
men's
the
game. Yeah.
It was a men's game, and that was pretty bad. Now, the police and the Crown Prosecution Service said it didn't meet the threshold for prosecution, but I can say that Arsenal took action against the two
Oh,
people,
okay, good.
and they were suspended. Their memberships were suspended, as far as I know. But again, I won't go into the actual game and what have you. And we're working with Arsenal to find out what all the stats were for the year. As we said last time, Amanda, most of the problems happen at away games. It's quite rare that we have any problems at home games. We have to remind people around the Chelsea and the Brighton games, that certain chants are not acceptable. But a lot of those incidences we've had, say, when Brighton played us at the Emirates, not last season, but the season before, the abuse was hurled at the away fans by
Yeah.
people sitting around the away section. So it wasn't directed at any of the Gay Gooners. One Gay Gooner did hear some of the abuse, but it wasn't directed at themselves. It was directed at the Brighton fans, which is pathetic, to be honest.
I
It's just
know.
pathetic.
But you know what? All of this, all of it is pathetic. They
Hmm.
need to grow up and realize that whoever you are and whatever you are, and whatever team you support, as long as you support that team, that's it. You're one of us. Everyone's just one big family. It's completely tribal football. We're all on the one tribe. Arsenal. That's
Hmm.
it. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, male, female, gay, not gay. Do you know what? I don't care. I've always had this saying. I don't care what you are, who you are. If you're a dickhead, you're a dickhead. I couldn't care less. It doesn't mean you're a dickhead. I mean, obviously, most Spurs fans, but but I'm just saying that. I take that back. I've got a lot of Spurs friends. I'm just saying that I think it's getting to the point where they're just idiots. And honestly, obviously, after our last chat last year, I was very conscious of where I was, and I didn't go to any away games this year because I couldn't get any tickets. And I was very conscious that if I heard anything, I would have done it anyway, regardless of chatting with you two. I've always been very protective of all, as we say, isms. Always have been, and mainly, really, over the years of sexism, because obviously it was really strange because I've never encountered sexism. I've been going to football since what 1973, properly since 1979, 1980. There was about three women, that I even saw, and I was one of them. So I didn't encounter it. I never heard it, nothing. Then social media came out, and I don't even think I got it then. And then about a few years later, someone tried to be sexist with me. And how I behave is I'll show you up. I don't bite and I don't ignore. I'll show you up.
Hmm.
And you've got nothing to come back at me with at all. So I don't really encounter sexism at all. If I hear it, I will stand for whoever. And I can't tolerate any homophobia, anything. I can't tolerate it because I think if you're a decent human being, that's all that matters. Nothing
Hmm.
else. And I always say it, love is love. That's the end of it. I'm not interested in anything else. And I will always side as such with as people, you see it at football, and you're singing songs and stuff like that, and that's not acceptable to sing that song, full stop, regardless of who you're with. It's not acceptable to sing that Chelsea song. There's a lot of songs that are not acceptable to Jewish people, and I'm Jewish, so I stopped that as well.
Mm.
And I think Arsenal have got pretty good with the Tottenham chant. It died out many, many, many years ago, thankfully. But as Carl said, I can't believe it's 2024 and people are still chanting this nonsense. Chant about your team. Chant about Erdegaard and
Yeah.
Saka and
It, it,
and David Raya, and make a song up for somebody, and Benny Blanco and everybody,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
because this should not be going on.
But
And
there are now financial implications for clubs that do allow it to carry on, Amanda. Because last season we saw Leeds United, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Luton Town. They were fined a total of nearly £500,000 by the FA for chants by their fans, home fans, all related to the Chelsea rent boy situation, because they didn't control it enough. Now, Arsenal have always been sort of one step ahead of most other clubs in this respect. This is why we have the anti-discrimination videos shown at every single home game before kickoff and at half time, where you see this mugshot on the big screen. Well, thankfully, this
yeah,
is being
I always
retired.
do. Yeah,
It's being retired. I'm no longer going to appear. Hooray! The club are doing a new anti-discrimination video, and it will be across all isms, as you put it earlier. And I think that's important. But there are financial penalties for clubs that do not tackle this properly, and it's all about the education process. And we don't want to go around with a big stick. I've often said, I've been interviewed by Sky and others, and I've said we don't want to be the gay police. We don't want to be the ones that have to constantly call it out and address it and
no,
follow it up and what have you. But that's what we do, because that's what this group is about. And I will, as co-chair, do everything and anything I can to make sure that our members feel safe and make them feel that justice will be served if there is an issue, because a chant or a homophobic some abuse can escalate if you're not careful, in a crowd environment and all the rest of it. And before you know it, there could be punches thrown, there could be violence, which is absolutely the last thing that any of us want to see. So there is a reason to nip it in the bud. And if you hear, because this is what I've done, if I hear somebody about to start the chant, I give them the stare, or I give them the possibility of a fine. And by the way, there are LGBT people right in front of you, at this game. And what we talk about, people like your good self, Amanda, being proud allies for our group. We need more and more proud allies to really turn around and sort of say, we don't do that here. Arsenal is a class club. We don't need to hear that kind of abuse coming out of your mouth.
yeah. I think not only to feel safe, Selena, you want to feel comfortable and enjoy the match, and be part of the singing, and wanting your team to win and all that. And people like me and other people take it for granted that I'm assuming that sometimes, occasionally, you might feel like you're a bit more apprehensive. Say, I don't know if it's obviously different at the women's game, but I've never gone to football and felt apprehensive, unless, I mean, I've been to Spurs away so many times. That's the only time I feel apprehensive, because I feel like I'm going to get, whatever. When you go down White Hart Lane, it's not pleasant. So I've been at many away grounds over the years, and I do feel slightly apprehensive at times,
Mm-hmm.
but never generally, of course. But is that how it's for you, or is it
Oh,
different?
please, it's not as bad as it may sound.
Yeah,
98% of the time, everything's fine. It's great, and we love away games as much as anybody else. So I went for my first North London derby away. I went to the Toilet Bowl, which was good because we won, and I put my flag out over the Proud Lily-Whites flag, so we were there together on which was nice. It's sort of
yeah,
it's I've always said we're fierce rivals on the pitch, but we're respectful football fans off it, and that applies to all the LGBT groups that we associate with. I mean, the conference that Selena and I went to, there was Spurs and Chelsea and Man United, Man City. They're from all around the country at that conference, and we all got on, really, really well. But it's just those few bad apples that cause the bigger issue and the bigger problem. But I'm feeling, I guess, because people recognize me more now, thanks to
I bet
the
they do.
video, and you can almost see them give just that. Oh, hang on a minute. Better watch what we say. Fine. If my face makes you think twice about starting a homophobic chant, then job done.
Yeah, good. Yeah. No, I get that. It's. Do you know what? It's boring. It really is. Just support your team. You know, just go to a match, sing your songs, be respectful of everybody, whatever race, colour, sex you are. Do you know, it honestly astounds me, Selena, that anyone in this day and age is even bothered by it. And I think, Carl and I mean, I don't know how active you are on Twitter, but when Arsenal put out a celebratory post about the Gay Gooners or Pride or anything, the ridiculous, disgusting comments underneath their post, I swear I must go through nearly all of them and tell them to do one. I literally, as like, you're not my club. Good, go, bye. I don't want you sort of people supporting us anyway. Do you see any of that, Selena? And if you do, how does that make you feel?
So I don't follow the men's Twitter account. I only follow the women's
Right.
for that very reason. But last year, I think during LGBTQ plus History Month, I did an interview with the club, which was then published on Twitter. And as I only follow the women's account, they retweeted it. I saw all the positive comments on there. And I woke up the next morning to an email from Arsenal apologising for all these negative comments and saying that they were working on it. And I had no idea what they were talking about it because I hadn't seen the men's side of
Yeah.
it. But yeah, obviously, I then went and had a look and read about 15 comments before I had to close Twitter, get off the internet. But yeah, it was pretty awful that an interview I did triggered that kind of response from the club.
At least the club did that though. At least they just didn't
They
ignore it.
did.
And they do, I think they do try, and oh, Carl's disappeared. And they do try and kick it out as such. So it isn't fun, but because you don't follow the men's account, it is it isn't nice. It really isn't nice.
Yeah.
J- j- oh, and generally I would say, and I am going to sort of blanket this, it generally is supporters abroad that I can see on their accounts. Oh, Carl is back. There he is.
Oh, I'm down below now.
There we go. You're down below. I was saying to Selena that generally, I personally think a lot of the accounts are abroad that act in that disgusting way. I don't think it's fans in this country, but then we're just going to touch on that. Talk to us about the fact that you've just been to Amsterdam.
Yeah, I was at a conference in Amsterdam earlier in the year. We were invited by the people at Football v Homophobia to speak to Dutch media and Dutch fans, because there's a strange situation in Holland. I only found out when I got there. The conference was split into two parts. There was the Dutch experience and then the English experience in terms of LGBT groups in football.
Yeah.
In the whole of Holland, which we all see as being really quite liberal,
Yeah.
very LGBT minded, and all the rest of it, we couldn't be farther from the truth. We heard things in the first half. There's a guy, Paul van Dorst. He's 6'5", big, tall Dutch guy, has his own gym, and he set up Feyenoord's LGBT supporters group. And he's had real difficulty because the club won't officially recognise the group.
Wow.
And the ultras in Dutch football are really, really strong. And these ultras got to the point where they had credible death threats against Paul. And the guy's now serving time in jail for those death threats. He had to have 24-hour armed police protection for several months outside his house. He has a panic button in his house so that if there's any trouble. Feyenoord won't officially recognise the group because they're scared that they'll be seen as the gay club in Holland. And when Paul was giving his presentation, there was Joe from Pride of Irons, the West Ham group, and Rishi Madlani from Fox's Pride, which is the Leicester group, and myself. And we had to follow this. And we went on and we said, we don't know what to say, because to us, we feel like we're in Nirvana, utopia for LGBT fans in the UK. And I think we were just shocked that it would be so bad in Holland. Can you imagine death threats against somebody by the ultras because they don't want to be seen associating with LGBT? You know, I can understand that in maybe Hungary or Poland, where there's a huge sort of social issue around LGBT and the politicians stoke it up, but not in Holland. That just seemed a bit strange. Anyway, we gave our presentations, and Paul came up to us afterwards and he said, I was ready to throw the towel in. I was ready to give up because it's not worth it. He said, but you guys are giving me inspiration, because what you do with your clubs and what you've achieved and how you go about in a positive spirit. So if anything, we turned him around, and I've already been in touch with the club and said, wouldn't it be fantastic if we could invite Paul and his other half to a game at the Arsenal to see what it's like when a proper football club supports everybody. And the interesting thing is, Feyenoord are in the Champions League. Wouldn't it be fantastic if we get to play Feyenoord at the Emirates and we can invite Paul on? So for me, it kind of was like, because sometimes people might think, because I've got the media appearances and I talk about usually when there's an issue. But the reality is the Gay Gooners and other groups like us across English football especially have made it a far more pleasant experience, match-going experience for people, LGBT people, but we've also made it a better experience for other fans as well, because they're hearing less hateful chants and abuse, and we've got this gelling. To go to the Emirates now and hear that atmosphere, to hear North London Forever before every game now, it just sends, it gets spine tingling. It's fantastic. So we should never forget how lucky we are as LGBT people in the UK compared to other football groups across Europe. It was a sad situation. And the other thing is, we have members in countries where it is illegal to be LGBT plus. You could be executed in some countries if they suspect you of being gay. Okay. And
so how do they? So what do they do? Do they've joined the Gay Gooners? Is there like a club or something they subscribe to?
Yeah, they become members of our group. We're probably the most global supporters group. And you talk about the USA fans before. The USA, Arsenal America, love Arsenal Gay Gooners. Whenever they come over to London, they tend to meet up with us. We have a lot of members over there. I went to the Orlando 2022. I was in Orlando for the game against Orlando and Chelsea. And so I got to interact with people like Aston Mack and all the Detroit Gooner, met a lot of people, and all of them knew about the Gay Gooners, and they were just all saying, "What fantastic work!" But as I say, we've got members who have a connection to Arsenal through us, through the Gay Gooners, where they get the newsletter, and but they can't sort of advertise. They wouldn't wear a Gay Gooner scarf in some of these countries, but to us, it's quite heartening to think that we're helping some people connect to the club in a way that they couldn't do in their own country. They couldn't join. I'm not going to name any countries specifically, but it would be country X's official Arsenal supporters group. They may not feel comfortable enough, for example, joining that group, given the rampant homophobia that can exist in certain parts of the world.
Such a shame, isn't it? And we were talking off air because look, I don't like Arsenal's black kit, the new one. I didn't like Arsenal's Illuminous kit last year, and I absolutely loved it after about 2 weeks. I don't see me changing on this. Now on Saturday, I took my parents to the Emirates. For those that commented, thank you very much. I'm on the mural, the fans mural, and my dad is the only reason I'm an Arsenal fan. He's 78, as obsessed as anything, and he said to me, when I told him that I was going to be on there, obviously he cried a bit, very emotional. And he said, I'd like to see it live. Well, that was about 6 months ago. So obviously in the closed season, he's not able to go to football anymore, unfortunately. But lives, eats, breathes 24/7 Arsenal. So off we drove to the Emirates. It's a very strange feeling going to football, but you're not going to football, because I still say going to football. I mean going to the Emirates. But I can't believe how busy it was. I didn't think there'd be a soul around. It was so busy. And I showed him all the fantastic artwork, and my mum as well. And then we got to the mural and he got all emotional, because obviously his daughter's on the Emirates Stadium, and for him it's just the be all, you know. And then we took a little stroll. We went to the Little Wonder Cafe. We did all the little things that, you know, I do on a match day. And then we went in the shop. I was just gonna say thank you, Emerson. It was if anyone hasn't seen it, it's a lovely video. It wasn't planned. He just started doing it and I videoed him. But it was lovely. But moving on to the bit that I was going to get to was, I'd moaned all week about that black kit anyway. I was like, I loved the black kit from 2, 3 years ago, but that is a monstrosity and I don't like it at all. And it is based, I think, on some certain African countries. It's their national flag.
It's a Pan-African flag.
Yeah, black,
Black,
red,
green, and red.
green. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's on to do with that. And I was saying that I had a close look up, because obviously I was in the Arsenal shop. I can't see me liking it. It's not my thing. Everyone's to their own. But in the bit here, they had like a zebra design. It all just looks a bit weird to me, and I get upset that we're not yellow and blue. You know, I just want yellow and blue. There is so many amazing tops designs you could do with yellow and blue and yellow. That's our second colour. And then as I was looking around the shop, I got even more annoyed that they had like pajamas with white and navy cannons on. Who is going to wear navy and white? We're not Spurs. And then it loses the appeal for me, because it's like, this is such a business here. This is not like the little shop that we used to have at Highbury that sold pure Arsenal red and white, yellow and blue, stuff like that. I don't like the kit. And you've got a view on that as well, haven't you, Carl?
Yeah, it's hard. I don't like the kit anyway, and I only ever wear red and white. I always wear my home kit everywhere. I didn't get the fluorescent one last year. I've never had an away shirt. To be honest, I only started wearing football shirts when I went to the Europa League final in Baku. When I actually bought a football shirt, and that was the first time since my mother bought me the wrong shirt in 1971 in North Lancashire, which was an Arsenal shirt, of course. And just going on the yellow and blue, just to quickly say, the first time I saw Arsenal play a live game on the television was the FA Cup final in 1971. And my mum said, when I watched on the television, I was like so confused, because Arsenal were playing in yellow and blue.
Yeah.
And as a 7-8-year-old, I was like, it's red and white. Why are they in yellow and blue? This colour television can't be working.
And what's even funnier is I picked that top up, that 1971 yellow and blue top, on Saturday, and said to my dad, I've always wanted one of these, that or red and white, you know. And they're our colours. They do not, they if they did a yellow and blue, everyone would buy it. And the reason I got the luminous one was a client bought it for me. I don't buy jerseys. And then another client bought me a red and white one with Declan Rice on the back. I was very spoilt last year, but I won't be getting any more kits. I don't need any more kits. I hardly wear them anyway. I love the yellow one. However, I don't like that one. And I do feel that it's not, it's moving away from our traditional colours. Obviously, it'll always be red and white. We know that. But Selena, you've got your red and white top. What season is that one? Show us, because I'm trying to work out.
That's the current season.
Oh, is it the brand new one?
It's the new one.
She's got special number on the back. I don't know. I haven't got mine here.
Let's have a look, Selena.
Do you have to
Try and spin? Yeah. No, I can't spin because there's a.
Yeah.
You actually see it?
There
24. Go on. What's that for?
That's the on the stadium where you've got all the crests and the badges of all the supporters groups.
Yeah.
And the GGs have one that's like a psychedelic, like a paint pot thing. Well, it's based on that. So the numbers, you get them at the Armory. So they're the Pride numbers. So it's we had them for the Pride Parade.
You've got a massive on the flag mural.
Mm, mm,
Your sign is massive. I was showing my mum and dad as
yeah,
well. I was explaining all the flags and everything. I said, "GG," I said, "That's Gay Gooners," and so pleased.
yeah.
We've just got a couple of questions that I just want to ask before because I'm so conscious that we're nearly up to an hour. It is ridiculous. I feel like we've only been on here 2 minutes. Right. Question from Carl. How many Gay Gooner members are there now?
We're just about 2,000 in
Wow.
55 countries around the world. So every continent. We even had a member once that signed up from the Antarctic research station. So I don't think there's many football supporters groups around the world that can claim members on 7 continents. So we are very global. The split between female and male now is, I think we've slightly got more women members than
Wow.
men,
Brilliant.
and we have some people join us straight, some people join us questioning. We've all ages, all it's yeah, it's very diverse. We're the most diverse and inclusive group, I think, of any supporters group in Arsenal. I missed that last
I,
question. Was that another?
no, it was just saying that. Let me try and get it back. Hold on a second. He was just saying that Julian. He said, "Do those who do it feel threatened or think football or any sport should be only for heterosexuals? Personally, I like hearing everyone's views on sport."
Yeah, well,
And
this
that's
we,
exactly how it should be. Thank you,
yeah,
Julian, for your comment.
Julian. Every Pride parade, when Arsenal puts something up about the Gay Gooners, you'll get somebody saying, "Oh, when we're having the straight parade," and it's kind of like, fine,
Yep.
set up your straight Arsenal supporters group and see how many people join. Have your parade and see that nobody turns up for it, because you don't have to worry about being, homophobic abuse or living in a country where it's actually illegal to be yourself. So
Exactly.
it's a
Um,
ridiculous thing for people to say.
we've got one of the members of the Gay Gooners. Ricky said, "Cole, I'm part of the Gay Gooners. It was so emotional when we was at Pride when Carl read his story." How lovely.
I did make quite a few people cry,
I tell you
including
next
myself.
time, I want to come on the march and everything on
Yeah,
the bus or whatever. I'm going to just make, if you give me the date, I'm 100% going to try and be free to come on that because I think that would be incredible. And I can interview you all. It would be
yeah.
fantastic. I'd
You could
love
do a
that.
live stream. You could do a live
Could do a
stream from.
live
Yeah,
stream from the
yeah,
same old Arsenal podcast
yeah.
because I can tell you now, Chris and James, who are my, part owners with
Mm.
me, they fully support the Gay Gooners, absolutely. And one of them wanted to come on tonight, but he wasn't able to, and the other one's up north. So we're massive supporters. We're just massive supporters of everyone that's decent that supports Arsenal.
Mm.
It's simple, really. It's really a simple analogy. Just,
And I
just
have a
be a
question.
decent human being.
I have a question for you, Amanda. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the 17th of August?
Do you know what? It's really, really weird because the month later I get married. So I am so focused, yeah, on trying to get everything ready for that, that this has come like in between it. It's so weird because normally I'd be counting down the days. So what happens is my birthday's next week. So whenever my birthday finishes, for me the season starts.
All
So I
right.
don't think about it now. But because I'm getting married in September, and yes, we are getting married on a Thursday, for obvious reasons. And it's so funny because someone said, "Well, how do you know we won't be playing Thursdays?" So, because we won't be playing Thursdays when I book it. I know for a fact that we'll be in the Champions League. We booked it around January time. So I said, "We'll be in the Champions League." I was that confident. But so for me, it's the 17th of August, isn't it? I think I just started today because I said to the boys, "This is our last show for the summer. We're going to do a preview show, aren't we?" I was like, so we've all arranged to come back on the Wednesday evening. So for me, that's when it all starts. We'll give our predictions out, and then we'll start. And then, really weirdly, on our honeymoon, we play at City. So how
Wow.
it works, Carl and Selena, is luckily enough, my other half is a mad gooner. Um, it will be priority that day. It don't matter what else is going on. The day before, we will be checking out if they're showing it, where they're showing, well, they will be showing it because I'll be telling them they got to show it, and there'll be plenty. It goes from Southampton. We're going on a cruise, so there'll be plenty of English people and there'll be plenty of people that want to watch a massive game like that, whether you're Arsenal or City or not. So, yeah, I'll be front row wherever it is watching it, but I'll probably be out to sea somewhere. So I sort of am excited, but I get more excited, Cole, as soon as my birthday's over because that's it. Birthday done. We start August, and then you start looking, oh, who's in the Charity Shields? And I went to the Emirates Cup once, and to be honest, I didn't really enjoy it. I don't really do friendlies and things like that, that meaningfuls, because obviously I go to every home game and try to get to a few away. So yeah, I'm very excited. I think this is it. I think we're going to win the league this year. We were so goddamn close last year.
Yeah.
It's your fault because you didn't go and watch Arsenal Aston Villa.
Well, look out for me because I'm going to the City game and hopefully we'll be in the lower tier. So watch out for the flag. We'll try.
I want a placard say congratulations, Gooner girl, on your crew.
There you go. Yeah, we'll get that done. Then,
I'm
Martin,
just going to put.
can I have your shirt?
Martin can have your shirt. Phil said fab pod as always, and that's down to my two fabulous guests. So thank you for that. Tony Claude Gunner TV, big ups to the panel and smash up the likes, people. Thank you so much, Tony. I really appreciate that. But as I did promise, I need to show you some of Ruth Beck's art. So if you just give me 2 seconds, I will go there. But you know, I'm not very good at my IT skills are not as good as my Arsenal supporting skills. Hold on a second. Here we go. So Ruth Beck Art sponsors us, and she's got these fabulous, lovely bookmarks that you can purchase from her store. Please, please, please go and support her. ruthbeckart.com. Look how lovely these look on the books. Come on, people. Go and support her. And also just show you the selection that she's got. She sponsored us last season and she'll be sponsoring us this season. There'll be lots of things that obviously we don't show everything, but ruthbeckart.com, fantastic. We love her dearly. And I love these bookmarks. Aren't they cool, guys?
Good.
Fabulous.
I'm just deciding which one I'm going to get.
Right, which one do you fancy? I mean, so many to choose from. Honestly, look, the Arsenal station. She's such a great artist. Arsenal actually recognised her once when she was doing some drawings. Look at that over the Emirates. Definitely go and visit her store, ruthbeckart.com. Thank you, Ruth, because I wanted to make sure I got that. Exactly. Big up to Ruth. Hold on. Let me just hide that now. Lovely. We will go back to the pod. So let me see if I've got any questions for you. Okay. Cole said, favorite away ground to visit and which ground that you haven't visited that you really want to. So, Selena, do you go to away games or is it just the home women's?
I go to as many away games as I can.
So you can answer this.
In theory, yeah. I think I'm trying to remember. It's hard to say whether it's the ground that's enjoyable or if it's like the game that I went to. For example, last season I did not last season, the season before I did Bayern Munich away and Wolfsburg, and they were both absolutely fantastic experiences. But it was probably more to do with the game than the stadiums themselves. Although the stadiums are absolutely incredible as well.
Lovely. Never been to Bayern Munich. Fun enough, the only away grounds I've ever done is the Stade de France when we're in the final for the Champions League. And it felt that they were very pro Barcelona that day. You know, I just felt they wanted Barcelona to win it. Cole, what about you? You've done all the grounds, I'm assuming, around the Premier League.
North of Birmingham, I've not done I've been to Spurs once, and I've not done places like Bournemouth or Brighton.
Oh, okay.
Up north, I quite enjoyed Turf Moor because it was old school until they replaced the wooden benches and they've now got plastic ones. But one of the reasons why they were serving, they do really good pies up north, by the way. And I bought a pie, and there was a girl wearing an Arsenal T-shirt with the Arsenal crest, big Arsenal crest on the front. And I said, "Oh, did they force you to wear those shirts?" And she said, "No, we chose to wear them. Would you like one?" So I got a pie and a large red T-shirt for $3.95 at Turf Moor. So there you go. And the meet-up place beforehand is the Burnley Cricket Club, where James Anderson first started his cricketing career. And I bought 3 pints and 3 packets of crisps for £11. So for me,
You wouldn't even.
it's
You,
I
one pint
know,
and a packet of crisps would be £11 in London. I'll
£11
tell you.
exactly. So up north, you get better value for money. And dare I say now in England, I like the new arrangement at Anfield. You haven't got that roof over your head. So the away, and you've got proper standing bars. So Anfield as an away ground experience is way better than it used to be. And then in terms of a European ground, the Valencia, the Estrella Stadium, because we were way up in the gods. Oh my gosh. You thought the stadium was going to fall down, and when Aubameyang scored his hat-trick there, the place was literally rocking.
Yeah. Went mental, I can imagine. Well, the new season is upon us shortly. Selena, give us a little prediction what you think the women are going to do, because they came third this year, didn't they?
I have absolutely no idea. They did so well the season before last with barely any players left that weren't injured. And then last season we pretty much had a full strength squad for a lot of it, and we were a bit crap, to be honest. So I haven't got a clue.
We
I'll
can
just be
just hope.
surprised. Yeah, that's
Just
all I can
hope to
do.
see some wonderful
Hope for the
football
best.
and a new
Yeah,
goalkeeper coming in as well.
yeah. Yeah, hopefully we
So,
can qualify for the Champions League so we get some nice away games.
so do you watch the men's football at all, or is it only the women's?
I occasionally watch the men's. I follow them. I know like the results and what's happening and things like that. I want them to do well. I just don't really enjoy watching men's football anymore.
No,
I
it's
did
fair
for
enough.
decades since I was watching it from when I was 6 to probably my mid-20s, but sort of
You enjoy the
lost
women's side
interest.
now.
Yeah.
Fab. Carl, what's your thoughts for the season coming
Oh,
up?
we've got to win it, haven't we? We've got to win it. It's the last 2 seasons. I hate when people said we bottled it. We never bottled it
No.
that season. Absolutely not. And then when we played Wolves away, all the pubs had signs up saying home fans only, no bottlers. And I'm so glad when we beat them. Sadly, at Wolves. I believe in Arteta, and I believe in what he's trying to do. And I think this has to be our season. I can see Man City fraying at the edges slightly, because look at De Bruyne in the Euros.
Well, Tony K had something to say. Has the news that KDB going to Saudi given us a chance of beating City to the title this time? I think I'd have preferred if Rodri went, because I don't think De Bruyne played as much, but he did have a contribution towards the end. So, do you think that's going to be a big thing for us?
I think he's on the wane anyway. I think De Bruyne is not the player that he was. I think Haaland is going to get bored, and because his stated aim is to play in all the major leagues, so he'll have done. This will be his 3rd Premier League season. He'll be off to Spain or Italy or France after this. He won't stay for more than 3 seasons. So, and the core of the team that we've got is there, and I think it's ready. And the fact that people like, we've got Jurriën Timber, who I think is going to be a sensational player for the club. And if they can all stay fit and not get injured, because
Do
we
you
do
know
have
what? We did really well this year, Carl, didn't we? With staying fit, apart from Timber in the first match. Oh, heartbreaking. We did really, really well apart from that, didn't we, this season? It wasn't like the other seasons where every minute someone's injured and stuff. But all I can say is, yes, I am excited. And yes, I will be there for a couple of the home games. And obviously, I go away. Think I miss Leicester at home. Thank God it's not one of the big ones. We get married and then we're here the weekend and Arsenal play Spurs at Spurs. So whatever happens that weekend, I'll be able to watch that and then I'm off. So I'm excited for the season. I do think we'll win the league, and I will predict that. So what happens is, just before on the preview show, myself, Chris, and James, we will predict who we think will win. And I predicted correct last year. I said it will be City and Arsenal, and this year I'm not doing that. It's going to be Arsenal then City, and I think this is the year I get married. Is the year we win the league.
Absolutely. Well, happy birthday for next week.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I know. 21 again, eh, Carl?
That's
21
fantastic.
ago.
Me 3 times over.
Yeah, no, I'm not that old, not that yet,
Neither am
but
I, for nearly.
I am actually 55 next week, so an OAP, I suppose, but an OAP that will always support the Arsenal. Guys, it has been absolutely fantastic. I've loved it again. Honestly, it's so interesting. And my hope for the future is that you don't even need to be members of the Gay Gooners, that you are just Arsenal fans, and that is it. That you don't have to have that. And for people to even question why you need it is why you need it. It is just unfortunate. But yes, I hope all our viewers and our listeners call it out if they see, hear, or anything, wherever they are. Everyone should stand up for it. That is absolutely sure. Selena, thank you again. I love talking to you because I don't know much about the women's game. I hold my hands up. I don't
Not
follow
do
it
I.
so much. Yes, you do. I know that you go a lot, and you're a great supporter of them. And I will try and get down to a women's game next season because I do enjoy. I do watch it on the TV. I just don't get time to go down there. So thank you again for coming on. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope that
Thank
you
you.
have a wonderful, comfortable, safe, happy, winning season next
Thank
season.
you.
Carl, as always, you are an absolute delight to speak to, a wonderful human, a fantastic gooner, and I love you to pieces. And I just hope that, again, for you, that I know you go to the northern away games, that, you know, us gooners protect you. And that's what I want. I want them to be proud and stand for you as well and have a safe, happy, comfortable experience watching the football. Can't believe I'm even saying it, though I have to even say that. But
No, thank you.
again,
And we will. I'm convinced that we will. And you must come to one of our pre-match meetups. That's
definitely.
yeah. And I'll send you constant messages about that.
I just need advance warning. I work full time, and with the Arsenal Football Podcast, having a life, trying to have a life as well. I'm so busy at the moment, but definitely, and I want to come to Pride next year. Absolutely. Oh, definitely, guys, you've been amazing. Just wait there, and I will say goodbye to everyone else. Right, same old Arsenal podcast viewers and listeners. That is it. You're not going to hear my dulcet tones or the boys to our preview show before Wolves. Please subscribe, please press the bell, because then you know when you will never miss a show, because you'll be subscribed and you will get alerted. We will be going all through the season like we did last season, post match games, there'll be preview shows, there'll some friends of the show be coming back. My summer series is all up on audio platforms as well. If you want to listen, last week I spoke to Alan Algar and Anthony Gow, who is son of Tony Gow, used to play for West Ham, and Declan Rice's youth team coach and friend. So that was a really interesting show. I've had some really good shows over the summer. Thank you for being with us. I've really, really enjoyed. I love having this time off from the season. Just to chat to different people. It's really, really interesting. Thank you for all your lovely comments. They're coming up now. Oh, that's really nice, Julian. Thank you. You always have nice guests on these podcasts. Love it. Well, do you know what? We love talking to just fans. You know, that's it. And Tony says, all the best for your wedding, Goonie girl. Save us some cake. I will do. And on that note, I'll say goodnight. And I don't want to get emotional, but taking my dad to the Arsenal and my mum on Saturday was absolutely wonderful for me. So I'm dedicating this little show to my mum and dad. I love you lots. This is for you. Remember what I say. Always Arsenal. Good night, everyone.